Welcome to HRP Clarity. Subscribe now and stay updated. Let's watch the video.
The Trump administration has alleged that detecting and deterring transnational criminal organizations such as Iranian terrorist groups and their proxies is a priority for national security. But on March 2nd of 2025, your department announced that it would not enforce any penalties or fines associated with the BOI reporting rule, nor will it enforce the CTA against U.S. citizens, domestic reporting companies, or their beneficial owners. So I'm a little confused of how you square those two things. So my question is, can you explain to, or would you explain to the American public how you undermine the bipartisan CTA and expect law enforcement and national security agencies to quickly and effectively know the true owners behind shell companies registered in the United States now that foreigners, including a drug cartel, gang members, could register a company in the United States with no state or any federal ownership reporting requirements? And I remind you, in your testimony, you talked about illicit actors. Well, these are some of our illicit actors.
The Congresswoman, an overwhelming majority of the domestic entities that you're describing are hardworking Americans with small businesses. We bifurcated the bill, and any foreign entities must still file.
So are you saying to me it's not true that they must file and the foreign entities must file the BOI?
Yes, we bifurcated the CTA program that domestics do not have to.
So maybe I'm asking it the wrong way. So it appears that they are doing it registering to avoid the transparency of who the companies are.
I'm not sure what your question is. I'd be happy to answer it.
So I guess I'm looking at it as, and if you're saying it is not true and that they now are complying and completing the BOI, so let's take it one step at a time. So you're saying everybody is completing the BOI. You're enforcing it.
No, ma'am. I am saying that we have bifurcated it, that U.S. nationals do not have to file, and that foreign nationals do. Okay,
so I guess when we look at this, if we're limiting enforcements of the rule just to the foreign entities, that creates a giant loophole whereby any foreign entity can register in the United States and evade or not do the BOI reporting requirements.
Well, they would be subject to all. They would have to come through a U.S. financial institution, so they would be subject to all U.S. institutions,
including the BOI. Including the BOI. Including the BOI. Yes or no? Because the answer is no. I mean, you can say it however you want to, but the answer is no. And this makes it easier, and this is what I want the American folks to know. It makes it easier for human and drug traffickers, cartels, terrorists, organizations, and other criminals to do business in the United States. And when you're limiting the enforcement just to foreign entities, it exempts 99% of the entities that Congress intended the law to cover when it was passed into law. So I think I do have my answer. We're just not agreeing on it, and we know why. So let me go to my second. It's my time. Let me go to my second question. The clock is running. It's my time. It is my time. You will not do this on my time. Now, I'm going to ask for a few more seconds since he refused to comply with my time, not his time. In 2016, former Secretary Jack Lew announced that Harriet Tubman was to be the new face of the $20 bill. Can you tell me what's the current status of this project?
No, ma'am, I can't, but my staff will get back to you.
No, I want you to get back to me, because see, there seems to be an issue when it comes to things that affect people of color or people who live in poverty, whether it is what you're doing with Social Security, what you are doing with restricting funds.
The gentlewoman's time is expired. The gentlewoman's time is expired.
To me.
The gentleman
Mr.
from
Chairman,
Texas.
I need him to answer if he will. I'm not a staff person. I'm not asking him to have his staff report to me.
The gentlewoman
so,
can
Mr.
submit
Chairman, I'm addressing it to you to ask him to respect me. Mr. Chairman,
the gentlewoman's
I'm
time
talking
has
to you.
expired.
I need him to address.
The gentlewoman's
if he will
time
answer
has
me.
expired.
No, I'm not going to.
The gentlewoman's time has expired.
I'm not going to stop until you direct
the gentlewoman's
him
time
to
has
answer
expired.
to me as a member of Congress.
The gentlewoman's
Mr.
time
Chairman,
has expired. The gentlewoman has offered that she can submit questions for the record.
Point of order to you. I will not stop. I will not be silent.
The gentlewoman is not offering an
direct
appropriate
him to
parliamentary inquiry. Does the
Will
gentlewoman
you-
have a parliamentary inquiry?
Yes, I do.
Please state the parliamentary inquiry.
As a member of the United States Congress addressing the Secretary, I am asking you to rule on asking this hostile witness to direct his response to me versus having him tell me that his staff will respond to me. My staff person didn't ask him the question. I did.
The gentlewoman does not state a parliamentary inquiry.
So let me ask the point of privilege to you, Mr. Chairman, because I'm not going to stop this morning until you respond to me then, if you will direct the Secretary to respond to me as a member of Congress.
Today's congressional hearing turned into a fiery exchange between Representative Joyce Beatty and Secretary Scott Bessent. What began as routine questioning quickly escalated into one of the most tense moments we've seen in months. Beatty came in prepared, armed with questions about the government's decision not to enforce penalties tied to the Beneficial Ownership Information Rule, a key component of the Corporate Transparency Act. Her tone was sharp, deliberate, and direct. Bessent, in turn, tried to explain the department's decision to bifurcate enforcement, but his words didn't seem to convince her or the watching audience.
Beatty's main concerns centered around national security and transparency. She accused the department of undermining bipartisan legislation designed to prevent shell companies from hiding illicit money. Her words carried a warning. By relaxing enforcement, the U.S. might be opening the door to drug cartels, gang members, and foreign actors. Do you think that's an exaggeration or a fair concern? The tension in the room was unmistakable. Even seasoned members of the subcommittee looked uneasy as she pressed for a direct yes or no answer, but Bessent didn't give her one. Instead, he tried to defend the administration's stance, claiming that most domestic entities are hardworking Americans with small businesses. He emphasized that foreign entities still had to comply, but his explanation felt like a dodge. Beatty pounced immediately, accusing him of creating a giant loophole that undermined the law's purpose. Because the answer is no, she said firmly. You can say it however you want to, but the answer is no. Her insistence drew murmurs in the room. It wasn't just about the policy, it was about accountability. This exchange highlights a deeper question. How much transparency should businesses be forced to provide? Bessent's defense was procedural, that enforcing the rule fully would burden domestic businesses. But Beatty's argument was moral and nationalistic, that protecting Americans requires transparency at every level. Whose side would you take here? The clash between regulation and business freedom has long been a dividing line in Congress, and this moment captured it perfectly. Just when the conversation seemed to settle, Beatty shifted the topic and the tension rose again. She brought up Harriet Tubman and the $20 bill redesign, an issue symbolic of racial representation and government follow-through. Her question, can you tell me what's the current status of this project? When Bessent responded that he couldn't but that his staff would get back to her, that's when everything changed. Beatty's patience evaporated. She demanded respect, not a deflection. Her voice rose. It is my time, she said firmly. You will not do this on my time. It was one of those rare, unscripted congressional moments that reveal raw human frustration. She wasn't just speaking as a legislator. She was speaking as someone tired of being dismissed. The back and forth became so heated that the chairman had to step in repeatedly to restore order. Do you think she went too far, or was she justified in holding her ground? Bessent, for his part, remained mostly silent during the confrontation. His composure might have seemed professional to some or evasive to others. The visual contrast was striking, Beatty's intensity versus Bessent's calm. But in politics, perception matters as much as policy. Many viewers later said that this moment exposed the imbalance of respect often seen when women of color challenge authority in congressional spaces. The chairman's gavel didn't do much to calm things. Beatty declared, "I will not stop. I will not be silent." Her words echoed across the chamber and quickly across social media. Within minutes, clips of the exchange began circulating with captions like, "Joyce Beatty refuses to be silenced." Whether you agree with her tone or not, it's hard to deny the passion behind it. This exchange raises a crucial question. When officials refuse to give direct answers, should members of Congress back down or push harder? Beatty chose the latter, and in doing so, she may have made a powerful statement about accountability and persistence.
My staff person didn't ask him the question. I did. That line resonated with many Americans who feel ignored by bureaucratic responses. In the end, the chairman moved on to the next speaker, but the energy in the room had completely shifted. The exchange between Beatty and Bessent will likely be replayed and analyzed for weeks, not just for what was said, but for what it represented: frustration, defiance, and the demand for transparency in government dealings. Do you think this moment will lead to change, or will it fade like so many others before it?
Whether you see Joyce Beatty as overly confrontational or as courageously outspoken, one thing is clear: she made sure her voice was heard. And in an era where political accountability often feels distant, that might be exactly what the public needs. Because sometimes change starts not with quiet diplomacy, but with one voice that refuses to be silenced.